This is a brief discussion, people, of Professor Corey Anton's analysis of the classic treatise, The Philosophy of Money by Georg Simmel, and I really encourage you to go check out the video. Um, so what does money do? I think Professor Anton gets at it in this first question here. Money acts as an objectifying or stabilizing force of value itself in the world, right? It doesn't matter like who you are, how old you are, what your race is, what your gender is. You walk in the grocery store and there's a set price. It's objective, and that set price, it's not something you can haggle or barter over. It's relative to other set prices, like, the price of electricity, the price of gas, the prices of other similar objects and same objects in other stores. So what money does is it kind of stabilizes the concept of value. See, in a barter economy, it's relationship, value itself is not stabilized in that sense. So desire is a really interesting concept. And this idea of desire as being the kind of the fuel that makes the economy go. The fuel that makes the economy go. So Professor Anton says this. He says, he, meaning Simmel, is trying to describe the process by which consciousness itself relates to subject and object in terms of aesthetic experience and in terms of objects of desire as we're consummating that desire in union with them. And then he says a little later, to desire is to experience the gap between the object of desire and the desiring. And, this is something we experience all the time, right? I mean, we want something, we get money, we go to the store, and there is a kind of ritual of exchange in which there's both a mutual sacrifice, but a mutual acquisition, right? It's both people are giving up something, both people are getting something, right? It's and that's why I mean many critical theorists, Eric Fromm or Marshall McLuhan in his earlier work, talked about the fictitious needs that are created by advertising. That, we don't really have a desire. It's just kind of, if we're bombarded by messages enough that I don't know. I mean, like an inorganic, unnecessary desire arises in us, I suppose. Professor Anton continues. He says the advent of money radically changed the experience of value. It stabilized value because objects no longer had a value in relationship to you, but how distant they are from you, how scarce they are from you, or how much you have in demand for them, right? So this idea that, it's the same, go into the grocery store, it's the same price for a can of beans for everybody, right? No matter how hungry you are, or it doesn't matter if you're a vegetarian. It's the same. It's a stabilized objective value. Continuing, instead, the value got set in relation to other values, right? And of course, that's so with if the price of gas goes up, then the price of other stuff goes up, like notably milk, because milk is super heavy, it's expensive to transport, right? And so like the economy is a sort of mass covariance of values against other values, right? I mean, like the computer that you're watching this video on, or your cell phone, I mean, that's a function of so many relations of different values, from the cost of labor, the cost of silica, right, to tariffs and all kinds of other stuff. Anton continues, he says, money releases value from a subjective experience, right? Even though it's there, desire is always going to be in some level subjective. It objectifies the experience. Money turns value into an objective experience of objects. And what that means is it's sort of it is external to the person, and it's in a world of stuff. This is pretty interesting that this idea that money is always welcome because money is the horizon of possible desires. So Anton says the salesman wants the money because money has more value than the stuff he's selling, right? I mean, to him because it has a greater horizon of possible desires. And it's like, the person buying the product has his desire consummated. And the person selling the product for the money also in the sort of ritual exchange establishes a kind of consummation that we both give something up and we both get something in any kind of transaction. And then the last argument in many ways is the most fascinating that, Anton talks about Simmel's discussion of the stranger and how money makes the stranger a possibility in a way that in barter culture, which was based on relationship, right, doesn't allow the stranger to functionally integrate. But with money, I mean, imagine that. If you have money, you can go anywhere. And, if you buy stuff, you're everybody's pal. I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't matter if they know you or they don't know you. It really doesn't matter if you speak the language or don't speak the language. If you have money, right, even though you don't have any established relation, you can functionally integrate into the system.